Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are happily tuned in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show with Accept Yours, Nykole Tyson. And we are here on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. On I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's to ultimately allow us to realize that we have the ability to shift and improve every and any situation we encounter. And today we have a guest. Very, very happy to have her in studio with us all the way from St. Thomas. We have Kitty Edwards, DPNR's Director of Territorial Parks and Protected Area. And we're going to find out about the over 3,000 acres that DPNR through this division has purchased for the people of the Virgin Islands. Before I get into details, of course, I always want to say good morning to everyone, the USVI, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands, everyone in St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. St. Martin, big up. And anywhere you are in the Caribbean, good morning to you. And all those listening live on reefbroadcasting.com from the East to West Coast. Good morning. And wherever you are in the world, thank you for tuning in and sticking and staying with me. And as we get on the air, and those watching on live on Facebook, good morning. Please do like and share. You can find us live on I'm Making It Happen on Facebook. And as I mentioned, we have Kitty Edwards. She's DPNR's Director of Territorial Parks and Protected Area. And this division is responsible for creating and managing the Virgin Islands Territorial Park System, marine protected areas, and other designated conservation sites. This division mission is centered on creating VI parks for VI people while protecting the territory's natural and cultural resources for future generations. And in just 3 years, this division has also helped acquire approximately 3,000 acres of land for conservation, which is a remarkable milestone for such a new division. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me today.
It's a pleasure. We've been trying to get you here.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate the flexibility and that she was like, I think this is so important that I should be there in person.
I do. I love in-person interviews. I love to see your face when we're talking, just have a really fun conversation.
Perfect. Appreciate you. And she flew over this morning. So thanks so much. And so tell us, let's see. So today, as I mentioned, we're talking about something that affects every Virgin Islander. I mean, this has been a contention about having access to beaches, having access to certain land. And DPNR has heard the call, and with the help of course, the administration, governor's office has, office of the governor has put action, backed their words with action, created a division that solely focuses on preserving certain areas and making sure that we have access from now to time to come. And so that means our land, our beaches, our history, our environment, and the legacy we're going to have for future generations, that's being preserved. And the Department of Planning and Natural Resources, Division of Territorial Parks and Protected Areas, is one of the newest divisions, as I mentioned, within DPNR. But in just a few short years, it has already made a tremendous progress. As I mentioned already, the 3,000 acres. And I mentioned it just briefly, but I want to restate it. Their vision is simple but powerful: VI parks for VI people. So thank you again for joining us today.
Thank you.
So for those who may not be familiar, can you just give us your background, and how long have you been the director?
Yeah, absolutely. So good morning, everybody. My name is Kitty, and I am from St. Thomas, but really lucky to be in this territorial position. I have been with DPNR for almost 10 years. I started in January of 2017 in the Division of Coastal Zone Management and became the director of this brand new division in July of 2023. So we're actually hitting my 3-year anniversary of the new position was technically on the 4th of July because of how the payroll that week started. But, really, really exciting to see the work that has been done in this division within that fairly short amount of time.
So tell us, what does the phrase, I have an idea, and I'm sure people, I just want you to say, the focus, you made it a focus or emphasis on the website itself. Why do you think it's significant that of your phrase VI Parks for VI people? Why was it significant for you to state it on your website?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for asking. So that started as something that I would repeat to myself and my team as we were growing to remind us of why we are here. I want to make sure that we are preserving land for the people of the Virgin Islands in perpetuity. And if we build a park system that is perfect for us, it's going to be perfect for everybody else too. But there is such a large conversation regarding keeping access to our natural spaces and making sure that we don't have to worry about having green space, having places to go on hikes, places to go on picnics with your family, places to go and relax at the beach for the day. And that is something that has been given to us as a mandate in this division. But I think that it's really important to remind ourselves that this is a park system for Virgin Islands people. Also, this is our technically the equivalent of a state park system for us. So this is managed by the local Virgin Islands government. This is not, I love national parks. I love traveling and visiting national parks, but this is managed and the decisions are made locally, which I think is really important.
I think so too, because from my understanding, there's a lot of restrictions when it comes to the federal side
Yes, yeah.
of managing the parks. And so I know that with it being managed locally, then there won't be those type of restrictions and that restricts us from being able to use those in various ways.
Yeah, absolutely.
I guess there's also flexibility if we need to use it in other capacities.
So I think what's important in that sentence of protecting our natural and cultural resources is our cultural resources. So I know a big topic here on St. Croix especially is having access to our beaches and coastal areas for camping. That is a cultural practice that is important to all Virgin Islanders. I grew up camping on Keys, which is really fun. And here on St. Croix, a lot of families camp along the coastline. So preserving those cultural practices within the division is really important. And so I think when you said about the restrictions of federal spaces, those are really important too. And having different types of parks within the world, honestly, is really important. And when it comes down to it, if you want to spend the afternoon with your family, it shouldn't matter if you're going to a national park, to a territorial park, or to a recreational park. If you want to go out and relax, if you want to go out and have fun, the important part is that these places are here for you. And the management decisions and the management background really shouldn't have to enter your mind that much. But know that our territorial park system is being managed locally by Virgin Islanders, and we are doing everything we can to protect those spaces and keep them protected in perpetuity, I like to say.
Forever
and ever.
Okay. Perfect. So one of the biggest accomplishments in my view, of course, mention it, is the acquisition of approximately 3,000 acres in just 3 years. Tell us about that milestone.
Oof. So I will say that this has been thanks to a grant that we got from NOAA. So this is, as much as I say,
NOAA?
The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Wow, I just lost vocabulary for a second there. So we do rely heavily on federal grants. And I think that this is interesting because this grant opportunity gave us the ability and flexibility to purchase very large tracts of land without using general fund monies, which is, music to my ears. Yeah. So, actually, exactly 3 years ago, I was sitting at my desk writing the letter of intent for this grant. It was the first thing that my commissioner asked me to do when I got the position. It was a really once in a lifetime grant opportunity, a very high ceiling for the applications. The original proposal that I wrote was for almost 75 million.
Wow.
I didn't get 75 million, but we got 69 million,
That's
and
amazing.
that's not bad.
Right, exactly.
And so just before anybody gets too excited and keeps on sending me real estate listings, that's not just land acquisition. So that grant has 3 pillars of activities. And I know we're here to talk about the land acquisition, but just to kind of, to put it
context. And
yes, to put it in context. So that grant for $69 million has 3 pillars. The first pillar is for watershed management plan activation. So taking the projects to reduce erosion, taking the projects to actually restore our lands. That is work being done by the Division of Coastal Zone Management within DPNR. Pillar 2 is our land acquisition and park management. So this is where we have the monies for the land.
That pillar?
Yeah, land acquisition and park development. And so this was my really, I don't like to consider myself greedy, but if I'm writing a grant, I'm a little greedy. And so this pillar is to set up the park system. So there is funding for acquisition, there is funding for salary. And so I was able to hire people into the division under this pillar. Also for management plans, because buying land is great, but managing it forever is a little harder, and having dedicated funding from the same grant that purchased the property to create management plans was really important. We purchased 2,436 acres on the northwest side of St. Croix in the areas known as Maroon Ridge and Annalee Bay. And that created the Maroon Sanctuary Territorial Park. This was absolutely groundbreaking for the territory. Also got me really close to that 3,000 number pretty quickly. But having that land come into conservation is so momentous for not just the park system, but for the Virgin Islands and everybody involved. There have been groups working on protecting that land and share the importance of it for kids, and being able to be the person that kind of because buying it was the first step in managing it in perpetuity. But let's say that part of the race, getting over the line, was really important to us and a really phenomenal experience.
So tell me, what made it phenomenal?
I mean, one, just the sheer amount of acreage, 2,436 acres is amazing. The history of Maroon Ridge, if anyone has ever been hiking with the famed Professor Olasi Davis, I'm sure he's taken many of us through many of those trails and thought about the historical significance of the Maroon populations who lived within there and created communities, and having that land protected from development so that we can continue, student groups continue having, insert any group of people who wants to go out and learn about that land is really phenomenal. Also, it is absolutely breathtaking. The northwest side of St. Croix is special, and knowing that we play in protecting that just gives a little bit of energy to my day when I'm buried in forms. And I will say, really, it is hard. Becoming a park director, I didn't think that so much of my time would be learning about trends, but we have a phenomenal team. A shout out to everyone working with me in the Territorial Park Division. It has been a wild ride getting this far on these, and we have more acquisition projects in the pipeline, which I will be very excited to come back and talk about as we close on each one. But I am a little superstitious, and so
Don't mention it.
I don't talk about the projects that we have closed.
Definitely.
But just, a lot of really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline.
I know that I'm not sure if you mentioned it because I was involved doing stuff back here, but did you mention the recent one that you
no. So so the Maroon Sanctuary Park was the first closing that we had in August of 2025. So it's been almost a year since we closed on that property. Since then, we also purchased a parcel on St. Thomas Perseverance. If you are flying into St. Thomas Airport and you look out the left side of the plane, and there's a beautiful empty rock beach, and then the watershed that goes up to the road, we purchased that, which is really exciting for an existing trail on which my team has been working on cleaning up, making it safer, making it a little less steep in some places for those of us with not great knees. So Perseverance was a really exciting acquisition. We also have had back here at Croy, a parcel on Lowry Hill, which is a really beautiful property because you can actually see Altoona Lagoon and Great Pond from the top of the hill there. And then our most recent, speaking of Altoona Lagoon, we just purchased a small parcel for St. Croix standards, 4.77 acres. The Tomian in me is like, oh, I wish I could find a 4-acre parcel somewhere. But that is right at the entrance to Altoona Lagoon, and we're really excited about continuing the public access there because a lot of these purchases are like I said, ensuring public access for Virgin Islanders. And so if that had been purchased and built on, it cut off some of the access to the lagoon. That channel there is absolutely stunning. And so I'm really excited about the environmentalists in me just protecting those mangroves, but also getting in there and swimming. We have a piece on the website that was photographed by Dan Mealy. Thanks, Dan. And written by Dan and our community and the parks team, Chantel Quinones, talking about the cultural use of Altoona Lagoon and how beautiful the mangroves are, and the pictures from Dan snorkeling in there. So really, really exciting.
Awesome.
The more we protect, we want to make sure that it is purposeful. We're not buying parcels just because they are available. We are purchasing parcels for conservation, for the park system, for public access, for recreation, for conservation and preservation. So there's really a wide range of reasons that we would want to bring properties into the park system, but we are doing it very methodically and making sure that every piece provides something to our park system and to the people of the Virgin Islands.
And that is to be commended, because I had Mr. Richards on, assistant director. That's how he recommended I had you on to speak on directly about what's been going on with acquisitions of land. And I believe the first one was the beach in West.
Yes.
When he identified that was going to be an issue in the future with having access. And then I think that was a brainchild of the division being born.
So that property was purchased before the division was created. And kudos to Greg. I know he worked really hard on getting that parcel purchased into the government in anticipation of there being a park system, and getting that access to the beach, providing access to our natural and cultural resources in perpetuity is really important to us. Although I have to give a funny little side story, because I've been thinking a lot about public access and parks and conservation versus preservation. And I was at lunch a few weeks ago with Miss Shalana Brown. Hey, Shalana. And we were talking about Virgin Islanders' ideas of purchasing the land. And she said something really, really interesting to me, that we, growing up with access to the beaches, growing up, going into these areas, to a lot of people in the Virgin Islands, it never even occurred to us that we wouldn't always have access to these areas. And so having to purchase these parcels to retain access is a weird thing to think about. And I really appreciated that conversation, because it's something that I think about a lot with the public perception of what we're doing. And there's nothing in the world that anybody can do that everybody will like. But making sure that we are moving intentions, moving with transparency, is really important to me. And also getting out and talking to Virgin Islanders, talking to different communities, because I also recognize that my growing up on the north side is very different than somebody else's childhood growing up somewhere else in the Virgin Islands. And each of those experiences are very real and important. And as a St. Thomian, I can't answer for Persians, but also as somebody growing up on the north side, I can't answer for somebody who grew up on another part of St. Thomas. So really looking at a territorial park system, and this is bringing it back to VI parks for VI people, we have to make sure that we are creating a park system that works for everybody.
And I mentioned that created prior to the division being created, because I want to emphasize, I'm going to keep emphasizing that we are the government. Each citizen is the government, and each person that has an position in government has, to me, not the word power, but have influence. And that, when you come in the radio, and I'm going to be saying this a lot, and I'm hearing more people speaking on it, so I'm happy. But I really wanted to be understood and just embrace that you have more influence sometimes. And so Mr. Richards, Greg Richards, saw something, and I'm going to harp on, he's like the golden child, right? You talk about. But I found out, if there's somebody else, let me know. I will definitely well, and that department. But I think it's a prime example of, you see me, and then you bring it to attention to individuals that can make it happen.
Yeah.
And then you're moving forward in it, not just in it being a conversation, like saying, have an action towards it. And that was amazing. So we went from that beach access to now 3,000 acres. Now it's preserved for the VI people. And also want to commend those in the community who do let their voices be heard about their discontent where there was access restriction on the island, because that made the higher government realize that this is an issue that needs to be addressed, and also need to have forward thinking, futuristic thinking, right? And you said one thing is that when we grew up, you have to preserve it and protect these things. Looking at some other islands, it's happening. Somebody told me I need to look at Jamaica, and what's happening in Jamaica. I didn't get to look them up, but they were saying they were having issues of having access for their residents to the beaches and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for the fact that the government, which is DPNR, is working for, and the people, is that they've been proactive.
Yeah, and this is through the help of so many individuals and organizations, whether you're talking about or a nonprofit or one individual who it's all Virgin Islanders. It's made up of individual Virgin Islanders. Nonprofits are made up. So I think I really like what you're saying about we have the power to make these changes. We have the power to these projects through, because at the end of the day, we are we are all just individuals within the government doing what we can. So yeah, I really appreciate
So
that
I'm
viewpoint.
encourage everyone, to within your other divisions, you see something, make sure you make your word, because who would have thought that we could get a grant for $69 million to acquire 3,000 acres and more for the people of the Virgin Islands to make sure we have access. And that came from many people having issues, making their voices heard, having protests, to individuals in a department DPNR saying let's preserve this, and how can we continue to acquire this, because this is a really important matter. Now, so I just encourage everyone in your divisions or your departments to keep seeing how you can make it happen or improve the VI, because that's really what each person that has a position in the government should be thinking every day. How am I improving for the Virgin Islands? All right, so you was talking about that you can hike the Maroon trail and kind of thing. So there's trails already created?
So when we purchased the land, there were existing trails.
Right.
The trails that have either been created off of old cart roads, or over the years, different organizations have cut new trails, and those all exist, and we have the maps of the to build new trails for different widths, different difficulties. I'll tell you that my knees tell me if I don't need to hike that day, and sometimes having a really easy out and back hike is nice. So we've been working with the Virgin Islands Trail Alliance, which has been working in the Virgin Islands for a really long time, already working with different departments and other organizations, and we are building new trails on our properties. So the first new portion that was opened is on Mount Eagle. If you go up to Scenic East, turn off at what people call the Beast. There is a chain gate that is not locked. That's just to dissuade people from dumping trash. The amount of trash we pulled out of there when we started making the trail was horrendous. And so the gate's not locked. And so go through there, and just a few minutes down the road is a parking area. And our first new trail that was built this winter by VI Trail Alliance and a company called Rock Solid Trails came down from the States to actually train on trail building. And so the work that they did over the winter, the Trail Alliance, as well as the Chant Conservation Corps, so that we are learning these methods and how to build better trails within our local capacity. And so now there is already a hike up to the top of Mount Eagle, and there's a new trail coming down. So now it is a loop. And depending on what direction you walk it in is a different level of difficulty. I like to go down Scenic East and then up the old trail and down the new one. The views are absolutely phenomenal. It's a really beautiful place to go. And we are working on new trails still. The VI Trail Alliance, because they are the ones on the ground building those trails with the collaboration of, like I said, Rock Solid Trails, who did that initial work, as well as other local organizations.
Awesome. Well, if you were just joining with us, you will know, if you've been with us, you'll know that we have Kitty in studio with us. She is a director of, don't tell me, Territorial Parks and Protected Area from DPNR. And we're talking about all things conservation of our land in the territory. Learn more. We're going to take a break. When we get back, we'll learn even more about how Virgin Islands can possibly be involved in what's happening in preserving our land. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. You're listening to I'm Making It Happen with exceptional yours, Nykole Tyson. And we're talking about the Territorial Parks and Protected Areas Division of DPNR with Director Kitty Edwards. And we learned about how they've been purchasing land in the territory. And we're going to learn more about what they're going to be doing in the near future. So let's see. So again, amazing. 3,000 acres belongs to the VI government that nobody can touch and restrict Virgin Islanders from accessing. So let's see. And so we learned to answer the question like how do you identify if people send you, so what if someone identifies an area, do you guys, and they send it to you, do you guys look into it?
Yeah, absolutely. I have people sending me property suggestions, real estate listings all the time, and I save every single one in a spreadsheet, because even if the grant I'm working on right now can't provide funding to purchase that property, I think it's important that we don't lose record of what is important to people. And so as other grant opportunities come up, I want to be able to, I say I play matchmaker, where if a grant comes down that specifically says it wants to protect coastal areas, beach access, then I have a list of parcels that would satisfy that grant. If a grant comes in that says this is for recreational purposes, we want to be able to build bike trails, I can say, okay, here's a list of properties that have been shared with me that work for that. So federal government moves slow, grants move slow, government moves slow, but it is important to me to maintain record of all of those conversations and all of those suggestions so that I can know what is important and figure out what to do as different funding opportunities come through.
Okay, perfect. So you hear that. So if they have an area that they want to share with you, how can they reach you to provide that?
The easiest way is through email. We have parks@vi.gov. parks@vi.gov, and that will go to not only myself but other members of my team as well. So there are days where I get 50 emails in the morning and something can get buried, and I want to make sure that it doesn't. So if you email that inbox, it will go to a few of my team members.
Can you repeat that?
Yes, it's parks, PARKS, @vi.gov.
Oh, pretty simple. Parks.
Yes.
Parks with an S @vi.gov.
Yep.
Are they also able to connect through your website to the email?
The email is on our website.
Okay.
Absolutely. So that's dpnr.vi.gov. And if you go to divisions, you can click on the Division of Territorial Parks and Protected Areas, or you can type in directly dpnr.vi.gov/parks.
So my one question, and I am all for the preservation, but there might be some that might think of, okay, well, why not to be able to develop on it? How do you respond to that?
So this is why we're so careful in selecting the properties that we purchase, not just through this grant, but future grants. We want to make sure that we are looking specifically at areas with sensitive habitats, with cultural significance, with historical significance. We're not land grabbing. We're not purchasing every single parcel that is available. We are looking for continuity as well. So as we purchase parcels, we are looking at parcels that touch the boundaries to make the park bigger, but not more spread out.
Okay, perfect. And so where did you see the territorial park system in the next 5 years? Because you're moving fast. So
I mean, we're moving pretty fast right now. There are some days where I feel like we're moving so slowly.
But it's funny. You gotta embrace what you've done, because
Yes.
3,000 acres in 3 years, that's like
Yes.
1,000
No,
acres a year. So you have to, it's like, so I can imagine all that you want to achieve. So
yeah,
where do you
so
see
I'm
yourself?
really excited about moving into the park phase of the Division of Territorial Parks.
What does that mean?
So right now we are acquiring land
Mhm.
and we are putting basic safeties on them. So making sure that there are not dangerous structures, cleaning up the existing trails that have been used for, in some cases, decades. But the next step to turning a property into a park is safe parking, maps, signs, places where you can go in as a family and have a picnic area versus going hiking, versus walking down a path to a beach, all these different options. Right now, it's predominantly raw land. And we're a park system. We are definitely very interested in conservation, but conservation without the opportunity for us to use and appreciate this land is the next step. So we want to make sure that we are inviting Virgin Islanders into these spaces in a safe way, but also in a way that different people can use our parks in a way that works for them.
So would you consider yourself being involved in sustainable tourism?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I said VI parks for VI people, if we build a perfect park system for us, everybody else is going to love it too. And so I want to make sure that we are building these parks through the lens of Virgin Islanders. But from there, like I said, everybody else is going to enjoy it. I was hiking the new Mount Eagle Trail a few weeks ago, and I met a couple who was visiting St. Croix. He was a teacher, and he was doing a Instagram video for his students. And it was really cool that they had already learned about the new trail. And at that point, we hadn't even posted it like publicly.
Wow.
They were just out exploring, talking to people, and through word of mouth found out about the new trail. And that is so cool because I
Nice.
want everybody to love and enjoy these spaces. And I want to give opportunities to anybody on any of our islands, opportunities for ways to enjoy this amazing place that we live.
That's amazing. I love that you said once we build it for ourselves, other people will definitely be able to use it. And I think that's what we should always be thinking about, is improving this land for ourselves. And the overflow is great. Everybody else can enjoy it as well, right? But we got to take care of it for ourselves. So as we wrap up, let's see. If you could accomplish one major goal over the next few years, there's one, what would it be?
So I'm going to say for the next year, just 1 year, I'm hiring park rangers.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I have the funding. I have the grant.
Awesome.
It's a lot of paperwork. And so it's a year, I think, is a realistic goal. But part of my turning our properties into parks, we need people out there who are, one, keeping an eye on everything, making sure that people are safe, and making sure that people are enjoying themselves. My Instagram feed is pretty heavy on silly park rangers and other state park systems, just out in the field having fun. And one, from a workforce development standpoint, like having this as another job opportunity for Virgin Islanders, I think is huge. But also just more ways for us to enjoy these properties and make it a job opportunity.
That's amazing. Really because you hear park rangers in the States. So that's great. We're going to have our own in the territory. And just as we got a glimpse of your background, which was very insightful as we started. What inspired you to dedicate your career to conservation?
We could do a whole hour just on my winding career path. So I grew up loving my home. My dad was now retired, but was a surfer and really good chef. And so I grew up looking at our natural resources as things that I could love and eat. So protecting that was always really important to me. I volunteered with a lot of nonprofits, but over the years, the career kind of built up naturally. And when I was in coastal zone management, I was the education and outreach coordinator, which was such a fun job. But when the legislation passed to create this division, I looked at my commissioner, Commissioner Jean-Pierre Oriol, and I said that this thing that I never knew existed is actually the only thing I've ever wanted in my life. I had no idea. I've never worked in a park, which sounds silly, but also kind of poetic that we are experiencing this together.
When you said this thing that you never knew what existed, what was that?
So the creation of a park system
here.
Yeah, because we have parks, we have national parks, we have parks managed by Sports Parks and Recreation, but the creation of a territorial park system just is terrifying and mind-blowing and beautiful and amazing and scary and fun.
That's amazing.
Just to name a few.
Right. No, it's amazing. And again, this came out from an idea and being proactive within DPNR. And I know many other divisions might be doing something similar. Let me know. But I mean, it's amazing. Want to commend again the division. I mentioned you guys many times, so people must be like tired of hearing about DPNR. But I mean, it's amazing. And I didn't even know until yesterday how many acres that you guys have purchased, and like even more. And that it's like you said, methodical. You have intentions. There is a progressive plan. Even within the year, you plan to hire individuals to be park rangers. Amazing. Local Virgin Islanders. I mean, that's that's another industry here created. So that's amazing. One of my last questions, and then you can let me know if there's something that you feel like you wanted to say that you haven't been able to say, is that is there one park? Oh, well, before I ask that question, can we find a list of all the trails on the website?
So right now, no, because we are still going through the social trails and assessing their safety. I'm not comfortable advertising a trail until we know that it is safe to traverse. And I've hiked a lot of them. My friends and colleagues have hiked a lot of them. So right now, we are not advertising anything that is not officially stamped, ready, good to go. However, on the DPNR Facebook page, we do have a map of just the new Mount Eagle Trail. So if you're interested, that is on facebook.com/VIDPNR. Oh, goodness. Is it VIDPNR or DPNR VI?
Look up DPNR on Facebook.
Yes. And so one of the really fun things that our communication specialist, Chantel Quinones, does is once a month, she does a special called TPPA Thursday, where she highlights something about our division. And the last one was a brand new map of the brand new trail. So you guys can check that out. All of those are also posted on our section of the website, dpnr.vi.gov/parks. There's a section where you can click to see updates, and all of those past TPPA Thursday graphics are shared there.
Perfect. And that gets me to this part. Is there, well, I guess you say you don't want to advertise it, because I was going to ask, let's see. I'm getting something online saying that there's I guess it's on the website, one of your maps.
Has the new Mount Eagle Trail, yes.
There's a new trail in town. Okay, great. Then there's a map there. So great. You can go to the website. Is there, I don't know if I can ask this question because you say you don't want to advertise it.
I'll just tell you no.
Right? That's the only thing that could happen. You ask a question, you want something done, and somebody tells you no, we move on, right? It's not a big deal. So is there one park or natural area everyone in the Virgin Islands, be it St. Croix, St. Thomas, should experience at least once, and why?
Oh, man, that is a hard question.
I guess also St. John, but
we have property on St. John as well.
Great.
In Fish Bay, the Nancy Woodson Spire Nature Preserve, which was donated to us by the Island Resources Foundation, a nonprofit that operated in the Caribbean for over 50 years. And when the nonprofit sunsetted, they donated those lands to us. So that's really exciting.
That's amazing. So something was donated to the government?
Yes.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing.
You can donate something to the government too.
Perfect. So land, yeah. So that we
Yeah.
have acquired some land.
Yeah,
in
which I
St.
know
John.
is a
In
big
St. John,
leap.
yeah.
That's a big leap to trust the government to donate land.
But especially St. John, because you know a lot of it is federally managed.
Yeah, and so that was already
Yeah.
in conservation, and the
Right.
nonprofit was closing, and so it is staying in conservation. But I love your question, and my first answer is your backyard. Like, just go outside and look at a flower, look at a tree. I know that's not a park, but you know, get outside and enjoy our natural resources. But one park that everybody in the Virgin Islands should see.
You've hiked a lot, and I want to hike. I used to hike, but yeah, where have you hiked that you feel that somebody should experience?
So I'm just gonna say my new favorite one, the newest one, the new Mount Eagle Trail. As you're coming down the new section, there's a bench on an overlook, and you're looking down to the northwest side of St. Croix through more like the rest of the Maroon Sanctuary Territorial Park, and it is awe-inspiring. And that is, I'm not going to say like the easiest hike, but it's a 3-mile loop. And if you wanted to go up that section, you could just go to the bench and then back down and not do 3 miles.
Okay.
And if you ask me again in a month, I'm going to say something different.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Kitty, for being with us. Is there something we're going to wrap up? Is there something, anything else you want to share that we might not have mentioned?
I mean, just to reiterate that I think that this is an amazing opportunity for the Virgin Islands, and the mandate of creating a park system has been amazing, but all the work I'm doing stands on the work of people for decades. And so while we just got this division, stood up and we are doing a lot of stuff right now, I am able to do it because of the work and passions of Virgin Islanders for decades.
Right.
So thank you to everybody before me who has been championing the Virgin Islands and conservation of our natural and cultural resources. Thank you, my team. My first week, it was me and one intern who lives in Puerto Rico now. Hey, Tricia, if you're listening. But really, it's, microphone, so I'm here talking to you right now, but it is the work of everybody, the rest of the DPNR team, the rest of the GVI, different departments working together. Nothing is accomplished alone.
Perfect.
And go outside.
Okay. Well, this is Kitty Edwards, who has been with us for the duration from DPNR, and she is the Director of Territorial Parks and Protected Areas. Only been around for 3 years, and they've purchased 3,000 acres. All right, and counting. They'll be moving forward with more, and making it available to us, the VI people. And so, definitely, like you said, many people before you. Like I said, the community itself making their voices heard all the time about what they want. So yes, it's important to make your voices heard here on the radio, and also when you have to protest and sit out and you want to see something happen. There are people that listen in, and then also those that can make it happen in your various divisions or agencies. You have the influence and power to create something like this in your own capacity, whatever that your department is, right? So it is us, that's the government, and I love that this is happening, because there's other islands where they're being disenfranchised, and they're having issues having access to land, and our government here, which includes all of us, we are being proactive to preserve that. So thank you for your work. Thank you for your team at the DPNR. Thank you for all the DPNR and all those who's made this happen. And thank you for being on the show with us today and taking the trip over from St. Thomas to make sure that we had a face-to-face contact,
yes,
right?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kitty. And thank you for all those who's tuned in today. I want to remind you about the CL for Tuition. Second annual golf benefit happening August 22nd and August 23rd. And the time has just been flying. And let's see, it's going to be held at the Carambola Golf Course. And so the 22nd is going to be at the golf course, the golf club, from 6 to 9. That's going to be the cocktail party. And then the 23rd is the golf benefit. And you can find out more information by going to makeithappenfoundation.org. And if you're interested to be a sponsor or you want to purchase a ticket, you're able to do so. The tickets for the cocktail party are $75, and it includes a drink ticket as well as hors d'oeuvres for the night and entertainment. And then the next day is golfing, and it's $175, and that includes breakfast, a lunch, and many access to beverages and some ability to win prizes. And we will be having raffles as well. And so again, go to makeithappenfoundation.org. I want to give appreciation to our sponsors thus far. And they are VI Lottery, Napa, Cane Bay Partners, Kirk and Leah Tuning, West Indian Company, Indotech VI, Bates Trucking, Imaging Center, Starlight Lounge, Reef Broadcasting, Urban Foot Care, SMG LLC, One Construction LLC, and Paradise Peak Builders. All right. And I want to give a shout out specifically to the again for our newest Paradise Peak Builders and let's see, One Construction LLC, because I just met them last week, and I mentioned the event, and these are local contractors, and they were like, yes, we're going to back it. And I said, okay, I'm going to send you the sponsorship. And they're like, no, they took out a check and wrote a check right there and then. All right. So I really appreciate, with the bigger companies, I really appreciate them. But when the local companies do show support of the cause, it makes me feel like, yes, you're embraced by our territory. And it makes me feel good. So thank you so much for the support. And this, if you wanted to know, the money goes towards students, tuition, and trade certifications. And we've been getting a lot more inquiries and requests. So that's definitely, we're looking forward to helping more students. But last year, or this past semester, we helped a student with her and housing. All right. And so she's graduated from Howard and now about to start school. And that's what we're looking forward to doing for more students. So please do support. And we look forward to seeing you at the second annual TF for Tuition Golf Benefit. Again, go to makeithappenfoundation.org. For more information, you'll see pictures, videos of last year, and a lot of information there of the things that we're doing in the community. And we've also helped other different groups as well with the money that we raised last year. And so thank you so much again for being with us. Thank you again, Kitty Edwards, for being on the show with us today from DPNR in regards to the Territorial Parks and Protected Areas. We'll be back again on next week, Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. We're talking about something that affects every Virgin Islander, our land, our beaches, our history, our environment, and the legacy we leave for future generations. And as I have been saying for weeks now, DPNR's Division of Territorial Parks and Protected Area is one of the newest divisions within DPNR, but in just a few short years, it has already made big things happen. And we look forward to seeing even more occur. We encourage everyone to learn more about the Territorial Parks and Protected Areas Division, explore the parks, participate in community events, and help preserve the natural and cultural treasures that make our Virgin Islands so special. And it's exciting to see that we are creating VI parks for VI people, and it's a reality. So again, thanks for joining me on I'm Making It Happen, with the exception of yours, Nykole Tyson. Have an amazing day and the week, rest of the day and the week. We'll connect again on next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. If nobody told you today, you can make it happen. And as I always say, if you don't see something happening, create it. Be the change. And until next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, me. So make it happen.